Okay, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, thank you for joining me today and happy Tuesday. I'm so happy you're able to be here. And this is really a topic I feel very passionately about. So I thought it was the perfect time to roll it out. Today, we're going to be talking about our leadership tune-up agenda, which is all about internal promotions. Welcome. The topics we will cover include an introduction, the fuel, which we did cover last month, the actual reality of internal promotions, how you can and probably should be informing your team, what it means to truly build a leadership bench, the return on investment of those internal promotions, and finally, we'll go through a bit of a conclusion. Obviously, if you have any questions or concerns throughout, please feel free to type them into the chat and we will try to get to them by the end of the training. So, my name is Pam Fritz. I'm the president and founder of Savvy Resources, Inc. I have 2 young children and an entrepreneurial husband. I love to spend time with my family and friends and enjoy reading and running to help clear this overactive brain of mine. I began my company for 2 reasons. One, I really selfishly wanted to get some more time with my children. That hasn't happened just yet. And 2, I really wanted to support mid and small sized companies in a unique way when it came to leadership development. I wanted to find a way that I could support as many companies as possible, especially those that have little to no in-house HR. I recognize that they cannot afford the leadership training that some larger organizations are investing in. So over the last year, I've created a 26-week virtual self-paced leadership program. It includes weekly office hours, quizzes, and assignments, as well as more than 30 templates, guides, and resources. I like to call it an HR in a box. Not only do you get critical compliance tips and tricks, but more importantly, it focuses on how you can keep your company car tuned and maintained and running at optimal performance. Throughout every industry over my past 20 years in leadership, there have been 3 themes I've seen time and time again. It's communication, which is the engine of that company car. Accountability, which is the steering system that keeps everyone moving in the right direction. And finally, recognition, which is truly the fuel of the company car. Last month, we covered the fuel in a lot of detail. Fuel is your future opportunities, understand your associate, provide everyday recognition, and lead the expectations you want to see. Today, we're going to be spending some time diving a bit more into the F in fuel, which is future opportunities. And we're going to specifically focus our time today on internal promotions. Internal promotions drive performance if you take the time to truly build a system around them. First, you have to consider how you inform associates. Depending on where you work and how involved internal promotions are, you could see things any of these ways today. Often, I have seen how we learn of opportunities in not always the best ways, depending on where I worked, right? Associate may find out about an opening through word of mouth. They might see a last minute posting that they weren't even aware of. Their manager may tap them on the shoulder and let them know that an opportunity has presented itself. And at times, associates never find out at all. All of a sudden, one day they walk in and they meet their new manager. That is not ever how an opening, a posting should go. How can your team actually prepare if they don't even know that there is potential that exists within their building, within their company? So when an opportunity is coming available, we should already have associates moving throughout a career pathing process. Then we should be transparent and proactive about the posting wherever possible. We should always give at least 7 business days to be able to apply for the role. In many of the organizations that I've worked, we run a 24/7 process. So in that instance, I would recommend that you post from a Tuesday to a Tuesday so that those that work on the weekends or during the week are able to apply to that opening, and everyone is treated fairly and consistently in regards to the opportunity that's presented. This will be helped by regular leadership conversations and touch bases. How often are you having one-on-ones with your leader and or your associates? Really, once a month should be that minimum expectation, and it doesn't need to be a formal sit-down one-on-one every time. It can be something that's in the flow, that's during a walk on the floor, that's more interactive and engaging than maybe a formal sit-down one-on-one. However, although I recommend once a month as a minimum, if you can do them more frequently, that is only going to enhance the relationship that you have with your associate. And I know sometimes it's hard to find time for those. So at times you have to be strategic in how you're structuring them and making sure you're doing it in a way where you can kind of get multiple tasks completed during that one conversation. So if there's a deficit you're seeing or an area of improvement, those conversations would be good to have at that same time. When we think about the reality of internal promotions, if it's executed well, it is viewed by associates as recognition, and that can be very powerful. They know that you have faith in them, that if they do a good job and are exceeding your expectations, there are future opportunities for them within the company. However, we have all seen this process executed unsuccessfully. I know we all have our Johnny that is the star widget maker in our company. We promote him, and then we find out that he is not a strong people leader. We haven't properly prepared our associates for these opportunities. We could and should be giving out stretch assignments. And again, those consistent touch bases throughout their tenure are really going to help with this promotions internally. There should be a clear career path with milestones that are clearly defined for those associates to achieve. Often, upper management will let Johnny sink or swim without providing true training or guidance that a new leadership role will really require in order to be successful. It's just like with any opportunity that you're given. If you don't get the proper training, coaching, guidance, the chances of you being successful in that role will greatly diminish. This is something that I started implementing several years ago when I was at Target. A Bob program. I think Bob building our bench is an ideal program for most any company to have in place. It's a great idea to consider this within your organization if it's not something that already exists today. I know when I really got this rolling within my one building, we were seeing 5 to 10 different promotions per year due to Bob being in place. And it was life-changing for those associates. This ties nicely into career pathing, but it also takes it a step further. It will help get your high potential associates on a true bench and ready to get in the game. And when that opportunity arises, they're going to be ready to interview and pass that interview and move into the role. Oftentimes, when you're doing a building our bench program, you're also going to be giving them some stretch assignments and some goals to achieve. Another thing you can do during that building our bench program, which I have found incredibly helpful, is interview prep. This is a group of your high potential that you can really pull together, and you can really give them some solid leadership training before they're ever even a leader. Now, granted, you don't want to do this all day, every day, and actually take from the job that they are currently slotted to be doing. But this could be a once a month event, maybe for an hour at a time. It doesn't need to eat away at your schedule, but it truly will keep those high potential associates engaged and motivated to do more. So you can do interview prep again, like I said. You can also have them complete a personal and professional tied together gaps analysis on themselves. I don't know when the last time you did a gaps analysis on yourself, but truly everyone should do this every couple of years. What is a gaps analysis? So this is really where you're going to map out your goals. So where you envision yourself to be in the next 1 to 5 years. You're going to write out your personal abilities, assess your current state in regards to your leadership skills, your technical competencies, and your resources. Finally, you're going to look at the perceptions of others. And this is when the SWOT analysis will come into play. Finally, we're going to look at our standards, where you'll compare your performance against industry benchmarks, organizational values, and KPIs. So you want to do a gaps assessment on yourself first. And this is what we would expect during our Bob program that our high potential associates are able to do for themselves. Going back to that perceptions part of the gaps analysis, this is what SWOT will do. You can actually have your Building Our Bench high performers take a perceptions sheet and give them to people at different levels within the organization. So they'd want to get some peer feedback. They'd want to give some next level up leadership feedback. Some, if they have anyone that reports to them already or that they're leading, they would want to get their feedback. And they could even go next level higher up on feedback. But the associate will give out these forms that will ask for the following things from folks. They'll want to know, what are my strengths, my core competencies? What are my weaknesses, my known skill gaps? What would you say are my opportunities, either market trends, new tech, or professional development that I could continue to work through to sharpen some of these skills? And then finally, what are the threats that you see impacting me? Could that be competition, a negative associate or a negative team? All of these things could be compiled, and you could still keep it anonymous for the people that filled it out for that potential leader, and they could give it to you. What you could then do with the power of AI, you could take all of these documents and upload them into AI and ask for some signature themes for each section so that you could provide these to that high performer in an anonymous way. I will say that although this is really for our Building Our Bench process, it is not a bad idea for you to do this for yourself if it's been a while. Sometimes it's very eye-opening to see what others see as your strengths, your opportunities. The other thing I think is really neat about this is, how are people at your level feeling about you versus people that are above your level or below your level? So I think this is a great tool, even if you're not doing it just for Bob, to do it for yourself as a leader to see where your team's feeling. Keep in mind that the best promotions do not happen in the moment. They are truly built over time. So again, talking about Bob, talking about having those regular one-on-ones and touch bases, it's just so important to keep our team engaged and moving in the career path that they're hoping to go. And keep in mind that oftentimes we are leading people from different generations, from different backgrounds. And with that being said, their expectations of when they get promoted and how that looks may vary. Some of our generation that is newer in the workforce, they may expect for a promotion to happen rather quickly. So just keep all of those things into mind, because we're really going to talk through this now. But what is the ROI of doing this? So when you're internally promoting, you're not just filling a role, you're protecting and multiplying the investment you've already made in your team. Did you know that internal promotions will actually stay nearly 2 times as long as external hires? They stay drastically longer time frame because they already know the culture, they already know the environment. It doesn't take them as long to get up to productivity and up to speed as it would an external hire. You're not spending the cost on a potential recruiter or other costs that come with an external hire. And you should see much less turnover from an internal promotion if you do it the proper way. The other great thing is it's going to increase engagement, right? You're less likely to lose your top performer if you're working on a career path with them. And keep in mind that replacing just one associate does cost a company between 50 to 200% of that person's annual salary. That is a factual figure, which is mind-blowing to me. But make sure you're promoting the right associate. Okay. And that's why I think it's so important to do the gaps analysis, to do the SWOT analysis with these potential bench candidates. Because if you know for a fact that one of your associates that's a high potential has different gaps and you review it with them and it's like completely off base, that should give you some hesitancy. Are they going to be a leader? Are they going to be accountable? Are they going to be able to hold other people accountable if they can't even be true and accountable with themselves? So it's just all, again, things to consider, right? So in conclusion, really think through, you now promoted them. What's next? Keep in mind that ongoing leadership training is key. Obviously, today we spent a lot of time on how to internally promote properly to start with, right? In terms of Bob, regular one-on-ones, posting the role in a timely, proactive fashion. But the conversation shouldn't end there. And that's where I think the 26-week virtual self-paced program we have to offer could really be a great bridge to help get that internally promoted associate, high potential associate, trained the right way. Again, it's just going to give them a lot of tools, tips, tricks around not only the HR compliance things that sometimes are missed by new leaders, but also really dig into those soft skills around communication, accountability, and recognition. So they're already hitting the ground running and getting your next Bob group of associates ready to roll. This is really how we're going to fuel performance long term. So if your organization is constantly looking outside for leaders, you may be missing the opportunity to build them from within. And as you're thinking about that next hire today, really consider, do they have growth to go up to 2 levels higher than where I'm hiring them for today? You know, always keep that in the back of your mind because they might be a good hire today for the role you need them today, but are they a good hire for long term and forward thinking promotional opportunities? You know, it's always a pleasure chatting with you all, and I'm so thankful you were able to join me. Did anybody have any questions or concerns? Okay. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I look forward to seeing you in the coming weeks. Have a great one.